camera.
That's good.
Right.
Okay, we're ready. We're
Okay. Good morning to Toronto 2017.
hi.
Nice to see you at least virtually. Greetings from Bitwise Works from Europe, and I will try to give you an overview about what we are doing right now in our back rooms. Because as you all know, we are the more silent guys. Okay, I will start with our major project. And to begin with Enjoy Firewall, which is our security solution for OS2 and Windows, at least at the moment still. We are trying to integrate IP SEC version 2, which will basically enable us to connect to everything, to every platform, including Android, from Enjoy. There's some work to do still, and we're not there yet, but we're working on it. Our second and possibly the largest project we are working on is Firefox. As you all know, there's been a Firefox beta out there, and it will not be the final Firefox release. We are working on an enhanced Firefox 45 version, which will hopefully have native print support for OS2, and which will come as an RPM YAM installation package. Dimitri is working on this project full time at the moment, and we hope to see a release in a timely manner before Firefox 45 is phased out by the Mozilla guys. What's also in our pipeline right now, and there's been great progress during the last days, is the Samba server update to version 4.7, which is the current one. I'll come back to Samba server at a later stage of my talk. In addition, we are still working on RPM YAM, especially in providing furthermore libraries that are used by other software, and by updating these libraries also the applications gain more stability and hopefully also more features. During the last weeks, we were working on an enhancement to the WPS integration of RPM YAM packages. As you all know, the RPM YAM packages are easy to install on OS2, and it's absolutely necessary that you use RPM YAM in order to have a maintainable system. The weak point of RPM YAM in the last month always was the integration into the WPS, and we hope to change that within the next few months. I'll also come back to RPM YAM later again. What's also important is our Office suite. It's the Apache OpenOffice. The release of version 3.1.4 is in the works by the Apache people, and we hope to deliver our release within 2 or 3 weeks after the official release, like we did for 4.1.3. As for the questions regarding eventually switching to LibreOffice, there's not much we can say, but the LibreOffice people removed at least parts of the source code of OS2 from the release, and having parts of the OS2 code released from the source code is even worse than having everything removed, because an eventual port would require a tremendous time to reintegrate the missing parts and adopt the OS2 source code to those changes the LibreOffice people made in the meantime. However, from comparing on other platforms, both Windows and Linux, I can say that the Apache OpenOffice is much more stable than any LibreOffice release I tried during the last month. Especially when it goes to pivot tables, LibreOffice is really not stable and not ready for work that requires more than a few hundred lines in the table or database. In addition, we are working on CUPS. CUPS has proven quite stable during the last month. There's one official bug that Silvan is working on. We are trying to update the CUPS base as we did within the last few months, and we're doing it again. Okay. What are our next bigger projects that are in the pipeline? After the Firefox 45 release has been completed, we will switch our focus on Qt5. We also intend to go for Java 7 or Java 8. However, we are still searching for a developer to perform this task. And after that, we intend to go to Firefox 52, and Firefox 52 is likely to be the last Firefox release we will see on OS2. Not because we're lazy or because we're stupid, but because the Mozilla people are switching to Rust as a development language, and we do not have a Rust compiler on OS2. In addition, Firefox is becoming extremely large and difficult to maintain, so together with Arcanoe, we are searching for an alternative browser, and we hope to find one in the near future that allows us to surf the internet on our platform. Okay.
Next slide, please.
As for RPM Yarn, especially Silvan created or updated more than 100 ports from certain Linux software, and about 80% of these are at the latest version, so by and large we are not back behind other platforms, but we have the same version as other platforms have. One example is GhostScript, where we identified a cross-platform bug that showed up. We could verify it also happened on other versions. It has been solved in the latest GhostScript 9.2.1 release, and we intend to update our GhostScript to that 9.2.1 release in the future, in order to have a current GhostScript again. Okay, we also have a few smaller projects that we are working on. Especially, I did always some work on the Samba server. The Samba server has more or less been my baby, and with Silvan's help, we always tried to port it, and after we solved the locking problems last year. Now we are trying to update the GUI tools. You will have a refresh of the Samba server package 3.625 within the next few weeks. We solved at least one annoying bug in the Samba server code, which led to pages that were printed without caps, but with the more simple SMB print to have additional line feeds inserted. We solved that, and since the release of the Samba server 3.6, there have been dozens of bug fixes in almost every component, and so a refresh can be expected within the next few weeks. As for the GUI tools, the Samba status monitor received this significant update, and it's practically ready for release. The Samba user management has to be overworked. The goal will be to further integrate the Samba user management with the Eclipse user manager. That also is required by RKOS. Right now, it's still possible to damage the Samba user, to damage the Samba users using the Eclipse user manager. This limitation will go away, and the ultimate goal will be to have these two integrated. This will probably be a task that will be fulfilled with Samba Server 4.7. In addition, as there have been numerous questions about the editing of the Samba configuration file, and as every Samba administrator knows the Samba server configuration center I've written, it would be extremely complicated to update the configuration of the Samba configuration file in there. But during the last weeks, I created a separate, right now, standalone tool, which will be integrated into every Samba GUI tool. It will be something like the feature found in Firefox with about config, where you may edit just every item in the configuration, and something similar will be put into all of the Samba GUI tools. Another little project is Bitwise Ping. Bitwise Ping is a drop-in replacement for the ancient PM ping that comes with TCP/IP 4.3 from IBM. This Bitwise Ping will be a drop-in replacement with several additional features. It will be able to explore a whole subnetwork, and it will be able to import the ping host list from the host list, from the explored list of hosts it found exploring the subnet, and it will also be able to write and read all files related to monitoring a subnetwork. In addition, there has been built in a function to wake currently inactive hosts using wake on LAN technology. And yeah, Bitwise Ping will be available within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and it will not be a beta version or a release candidate, but it will be a general availability release. Um, okay. Regarding our strategy to update Samba server from 3.6 to the current version of 4.7, is that a first Samba release will come with the same feature set as the 3.6 release. So there will be no Kerberos in the first release, and probably no support for LDAP, but we will integrate both these components in a second or third release of the Samba server. Okay, by and large, that was it from our point of view. Any questions I could answer for you?
What you say you're looking for a new Java developer? Is that
Herwig,
Java 7 or Java 8?
I'm not sure if he hears you. Neil is asking if you're looking for a new Java developer.
Java developer. Why
For a new Java developer.
Yes, that's right. That's correct.
To port Java 7, right, to those two platforms.
For Java 7 or 8.
Okay, so you had to have a skill of knowing the OS2 API and Java, no? Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Both.
Okay.
It's hard to find
Try to understand both of them.
And
Yeah.
Odin,
And
perhaps?
knowledge about
And
Odin
Odin,
would
yeah,
also
yeah.
be preferable.
Wow.
About Qt5,
Yes.
how do you see the potential of that version on the platform? Because I think it's a good idea and an excellent idea, but I don't know if you have seen the community, the applications that are in Qt5. Are those interesting for the OS2 community? What?
Yes, we absolutely think so. We intend to do Qt5 for two separate reasons. The one reason being that the community has been quite responsive when it gets to creating applications based upon Qt. Qt4 just will not be enough in a rather foreseeable future. Qt5 will be. We hope to provide by providing Qt5 to the community. We hope to see another boost in applications being ported to OS2 and ArcOS. The second reason being that the GUI tools for Enjoy require a significant update. And we decided that Qt would be the platform to go for that update, as you probably know that Enjoy can be run on OS2 and on Windows, while basically a Linux version and an Android version is possible and has some potential too, but it's not being actively worked on right now.
What about the browser choices? Can you talk about that a little? The other browsers?
Herwig, can you talk about the other browsers choices that you are looking at?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Can you talk about the browser choices that you are looking at?
Yeah, at least a little. We would prefer. There are several arguments towards several possible browser choices. On the one hand, it would be interesting to have a WebKit-based browser, which once again leads us in the direction of Qt. Problem with most Qt-based browsers is that they are simply not good enough. While the backend is a good one, the feature set of the browser itself is not really what we want to see. Firefox has a way greater feature set as most Qt browsers. The second alternative brought in by Louis, who is present in Toronto anyway, would be to go the way of Pale Moon. Pale Moon is also based on the Gecko browser engine, similar to Firefox, however on an earlier version, and it's been developed independently of Firefox and has a different feature set now. But that decision hasn't been done yet.
What about Chromium?
David is asking here about what about Chromium, the one from Google.
I'm sorry?
What about porting Chromium, the one from Google Chrome?
Okay. We also have been talking about Chromium, however, it seems that there are a lot of big libraries missing in order to get Chromium run on OS2. We're looking at it because Chromium would be a very interesting browser, no doubt about that. However, the effort to get it to build on OS2 would be immensely huge.
And the other alternative, porting Rust to OS2?
Also, porting Rust is not entirely off scape. It's also a huge effort necessary to port Rust to OS2. Sure. It's also not entirely off the table. However, the browser needs really a lot of our capacity, and that's not a good thing in the long run. Let's put it frankly like that.
What about Brave? Browser Brave.
What?
Brave, the browser of the guy coming up with Mozilla. Brave is another browser that's out there.
Okay. Here they're asking if you ever saw another alternative called Brave browser.
It's a browser, yeah. The guy who was the CEO, founder of Mozilla, who got fired. He's for Brave. I think that's not bad.
The previous founder of the Mozilla Corporation, he has now been working on a browser called Brave. I've never heard of it. So
No, I never.
Me neither. I've never heard of it too.
No, it's the founder of Opera.
I'd suggest that you send us a link, and we will investigate about that too, as the decision is really open at the moment.
Another option, how about Dillo is currently being worked on. It needs a JavaScript rendering engine, and it is also based on FLTK as the GUI toolkit.
Which one? Which browser is that?
Dillo is currently in active development. It needs a JavaScript rendering engine added, and it uses FLTK as the GUI engine.
It's probably not interesting. I mean, if they're still actively developing and it needs a JavaScript engine, they can just as well go with anything existing, like currently Pale Moon, for example.
I can't really say something to that, as I only understood about half the way.
Yeah.
Of
We were discussing about another browser called
Gold?
yeah.
What?
Dillo.
Okay.
Dillo.
Never heard about that before. Sorry.
Not Dillo.
a footnote on that browser, they still even need to develop their own JavaScript engines.
Oh, it's okay. That won't be usable right now then, because JavaScript is an ultimate requirement for a new browser.
What about Node? That's not a browser, but I'm just asking.
What?
Yeah.
Node, you know, the JavaScript thing that you can run JavaScript outside of a browser.
Yeah.
Wait, how's the name?
Because that's part of Chromium.
Oh, no GA?
It's out of the Google world.
Yeah, is it part of Chromium or is it?
No, it's a separate thing. You
Separate.
can write, like you can write a web server with it, for example.
Okay. Can you repeat me the name? I didn't.
Node.
No. Node.js. No.
Yeah.
Node.js, yeah.
Okay.
Herwig, they're asking here about Node.js. If there is any chance that it can run standalone, outside the browser, so JavaScript applications can run on the system.
I only understood halfway.
Is the noise here?
Could you repeat it, please?
What Martin was saying is that there is a library from Google called Node.js, and it's a
JS.
library. Oh,
JS.
JS, Node.js.
JS.
And
Node.
it's used. You can run JavaScript programs standalone with it. It runs outside of a web browser, and the question if anything's going to be done with it.
I cannot comment on that, as we certainly have not investigated on that. However, I note that there are reporting many libraries, so why not look at that?
Okay. And Herwig, yes. What about your efforts with Eclipse and SWT? Do you think it can be possible? Is it interesting or not?
Sorry, I once again understood only halfway.
Yeah. What about SWT? You were. Yeah. Is it interesting? Yeah. Is it coming or not?
SWT is sort of on hold right now. We have not abandoned the project, however, we don't have a developer and we don't have funds for it at the moment. I just know that at least Silvan would like to see it, and therefore I guess there will be another effort to get it going again.
That's all.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Oh, can I ask, actually, what compiler do you use to do all your work? Is it the GCC compiler?
It's all GCC stuff. If you look at their build scripts, they were asking what compiler Bitwise Works is using, but I guess that's 99% GCC, isn't it?
And what
It's
version,
99 GCC, the rest is OpenWorld.com.
and what version of GCC do you guys use? Is it one?
What version of
4.9.2
Oh, okay.
right now.
All right.
We have plans to update to a newer GCC version. However, there's no time frame adjusted to that.
Okay. And do you have any idea what happened to the Wacom compiler? Is it just never being developed anymore?
The
I
question,
think
the question was what's happening to the OpenWatcom compiler.
We do no active development on the OpenWorld compilers. However, as far as I know, the OpenWorld compilers are developed independently from us.
I guess you could call the OpenWatcom compiler feature stable.
Yeah.
Sort of, yes.
The problem was the STL, somebody decided, some brainy guy decided to invent their own STL.
Right.
And so the C++ is hard to use on it.
I've got one question for you, by the way. Voice has been providing some sponsorship to Bitwise Works, but I keep hearing from the OS2 community that people would love to have project XYZ being done. But how much funding are people actually providing? Could that not be spiced up by the community a lot? I mean, people are expecting a lot, but as I always say, free software does not grow on trees.
Yes. free software does not grow on trees. That's right. Funding has always been a problem for Bitwise, and we are, let's put it that way, we are not in danger to die. However, we are not living very comfortable.
I mean, I already discussed it with you privately, and I'm just gonna say it here in the at the Warpstock people present and people listening online. I'd like to ask anybody to. Voice has been donating money to several projects, and to put it blunt, open source software will not save OS2 alone. For some large projects like Firefox, you will need to have somebody sit down behind the desk and write code. And that's not going to be done in a few evening hours. That's the problem. If you would have a full-time job, the work that Dimitri's currently doing, to keep Firefox running, this whole gigantic structure to keep a Firefox browser churning out, that simply takes money. And not just 10 or 20 bucks. It's very welcome, but I'm basically asking Warpstock, and I want to discuss that with Martin so that he knows that, but basically within the next, let's say, 2 or 3 months, I want to collect $12,500 to provide funding to NetLabs for a new server, because that has also been running on vapor. It has been running for 5 years, but Adrian needs a new server. In other words, it's all infrastructure that we benefit from, but it's very simple. We need the lolly, we need the money. And yeah, that's an appeal that the community has to make. I mean, Bitwise Works is doing an excellent job. They would like to take on extra developers, but yeah, all of the free software downloads, when you click on that download button, at the end of the day, somebody has to sit down and write the code. Somebody has to sit behind the computer and debug it so that you have a current browser. So there is my appeal to you. Voice has now $10,000 left. We spent $10,000 of what we had because we thought it was useful spending. But yeah, Bitwise Works also. I think it's safe to say, Herwig, you would find it interesting to have more funding so that you could get another part-time developer to speed up development.
Sure. Absolutely sure. I absolutely can confirm that. There's enough work to be done, and we got a lot of infrastructure that just might be used to a bigger extent than it is right now. But that would require more funding, yes. So anybody is invited to feel free to send us some money to and tell us which project we should focus on, so that we see progress in more than one project.
Could Bitwise Works maybe not publish a list with a rough estimate, for example, how much money it's going to cost to get Qt done? Maybe that will give the community a sense of how much money it takes to get it all done. I mean, if people want to have software development done for OS2, yeah.
We can do that, we can provide that, sure. And we would gladly do that. Okay, any other questions?
Herwig, there is another alternative for people to donate. That is called Patron or something like that. That when people register to donate monthly a quantity of money, so someone can say, okay, I'm gonna spend or I'm gonna donate 10 bucks monthly, and there is a platform to do that. So that can also be interesting for you to check out.
We could do that.
Okay.
Would be a possibility, yes.
Any other question?
Could I offer a thought on that? You know, when you click to download the free thing, sometimes in the worlds of other software, a nag message will pop up.
Okay.
If this is valuable to you, please consider to contribute and put a number down. $30, $25, something like that. And so sometimes I do stuff just for my personal use. Maybe I'll give $1 or $2. But if it's something that helps me in my work, I'll give $25 or $50. I just think you have to ask. A lot of people pay, but they're just not asked.
The question from Jeffrey Race was if you could offer somehow a nag screen that when you download a product that it says, well, this was created, but help me buy my next cup of coffee idea, basically. Give me $10 or something like that. That there would be a donation button next to the download.
Make it part of the process.
I understand. However, we did not evaluate the possibility of this, frankly said.
Yeah.
We might do that. However, I would have to talk within Bitwise with Silvan and Dimitri whether we should do that or not.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Herwig. Thank you for your time.
With pleasure, with pleasure.